If you're constantly fighting aphids, mites, and chewed leaves, you're probably making one mistake. You're trying to control pests instead of letting your garden control them for you. Every time you reach for a spray bottle, you're solving a short-term problem while creating a long-term one. Because here's what most gardeners don't realize. The spray that kills the aphids also kills the insects that would have eaten those aphids for you. The pests come back, and they come back faster, in larger numbers, with fewer natural enemies to stop them. And that's why they keep coming back. Aphids sucking the life out of your buds, spider mites webbing the undersides of leaves, rose slugs skeletonizing entire canes overnight, Japanese beetles destroying blooms in hours. Most people spray, panic, repeat. But every time you spray, you're wiping out the one thing that would fix the problem permanently. You're not missing products, you're missing predators. Here's the part no one tells you. Spraying doesn't fix the problem, it resets the problem. What actually works is building a system where pests don't stand a chance. And it starts with just 5 insects. Number 5, the ground beetle, night patrol. This is the one most gardeners never see, but need the most. Ground beetles are nocturnal hunters that work while you sleep, patrolling the soil surface and lower plant stems for the pests that do their worst damage at night. They're large, dark, fast-moving beetles, often an inch or more in length, that are almost never seen during the day because they shelter under mulch, stones, and debris when the sun is up. Despite the name, ground beetles have nothing in common with Japanese beetles. Where Japanese beetles are destructive pests, ground beetles are one of your most valuable allies. Ground beetles are generalist predators, which means they eat a wide variety of soil-dwelling and ground-level pests. They consume slug eggs, cutworm larvae, vine weevil grubs, and other soil-dwelling insects that attack rose roots and crowns. A single ground beetle can consume dozens of pest larvae in a single night. A healthy ground beetle population provides continuous, invisible protection at the soil level, exactly where many of the most damaging rose pests begin their life cycle. The reason most gardeners don't have ground beetles is that they've eliminated the habitat these insects need. Ground beetles require shelter during the day, dense mulch, leaf litter, stones, or low-growing ground cover plants where they can hide safely. When gardens are kept too clean and bare, ground beetles have nowhere to shelter and move on to more hospitable environments. Here's what to do. Create ground beetle habitat by maintaining a layer of organic mulch around your rose bushes. Leave some areas of the garden slightly undisturbed. A pile of flat stones, a section of dense ground cover, or a border of low-growing plants provides the daytime shelter ground beetles need. Avoid disturbing the soil around roses unnecessarily, as this destroys the beetle burrows and egg-laying sites that support their population. By simply providing shelter and reducing soil disturbance, you invite one of the most effective nocturnal pest hunters into your rose garden. While ground beetles patrol the soil at night, this next one doesn't just eat pests, it eliminates them from the inside. Number 4, the parasitic wasp, the silent killer. This is where things get a little brutal. Parasitic wasps are tiny. Most species are less than a quarter-inch long and completely harmless to humans. They don't sting people. They don't swarm. Most gardeners walk past them every day without ever noticing them. But to aphids, they are the most terrifying predator in the garden. Female parasitic wasps locate aphid colonies by detecting the chemical signals aphids release as they feed. Once she finds a colony, she inserts a single egg into each aphid she encounters. The egg hatches inside the living aphid, and the larva feeds on the aphid's internal organs while the aphid continues to live, for a while. Eventually, the aphid dies, and its body hardens into a hollow, golden-brown shell called an aphid mummy. Inside that mummy, the wasp larva completes its development and emerges as an adult, ready to parasitize more aphids. A single parasitic wasp can eliminate dozens of aphids in her lifetime, and each of those aphids becomes a nursery for the next generation of wasps. The population builds on itself, with each generation more numerous than the last. But here's what makes parasitic wasps particularly valuable. They find aphid colonies before you do. They detect the chemical signals of feeding aphids from considerable distances, locating infestations in their early stages before populations explode. If you've ever noticed small, round, golden brown aphid husks in your rose garden, those are aphid mummies. That's evidence that parasitic wasps are already working in your garden. When you see aphid mummies, don't spray. The system is working. Parasitic wasps need nectar to survive as adults. They're attracted to small, flat-topped flowers that provide easy nectar access. Plants like dill, fennel, yarrow, and sweet alyssum. Planting these nectar sources near your roses creates the habitat that keeps parasitic wasp populations established and active throughout the growing season. But what if the pest is already hiding where you can't see it? Number 3. The hoverfly, the hidden cleaner. You've probably seen this one and thought it was a bee. Hoverflies are masters of mimicry. They're striped yellow and black, hover in place like tiny helicopters, and visit flowers for nectar, all behaviors that make them look convincingly like bees or wasps. But they're flies, completely harmless, and one of the most valuable beneficial insects in any rose garden. The adult hoverfly is a pollinator, visiting flowers for nectar and inadvertently transferring pollen as it moves through the garden. But it's the hoverfly larva that does the real work for rose gardeners. Female hoverflies seek out aphid colonies specifically to lay their eggs. They deposit their eggs directly inside aphid clusters, where the hatching larvae are immediately surrounded by food. Hoverfly larvae are voracious aphid predators. A single larva can consume up to 400 aphids during its development, a number that's almost difficult to believe until you watch one work. The larvae are small, pale green or cream-colored maggots that move through aphid colonies methodically, consuming every aphid they encounter. A few hoverfly larvae in an aphid colony can eliminate the entire population within days, often before the infestation becomes visible to the gardener. The key to attracting hoverflies is providing the right nectar sources. Hoverflies prefer open, accessible flowers. They can't reach nectar in deep tubular blooms. Plants like marigolds, phacelia, sweet alyssum, and single-flowered dahlias are particularly attractive to hoverflies. Planting these companions near your roses creates a hoverfly habitat that keeps these hidden cleaners present and active throughout the season. But this next one is even more aggressive, and most people ignore it. Number 2. The lacewing, the aphid lion. This one doesn't just eat pests, it hunts them. Lacewings are delicate, beautiful insects with large, transparent wings that catch the light like stained glass. The adults are gentle creatures that feed on nectar and pollen. But the larvae, commonly called aphid lions, are among the most aggressive predatory insects in the garden. Lacewing larvae are small, alligator-shaped creatures with large, curved mandibles that they use to grab and pierce prey. They're not selective. They'll consume aphids, spider mites, thrips, whiteflies, small caterpillars, and the eggs of many pest species. A single lacewing larva can consume 200 or more aphids per week during its development. A healthy lacewing population provides broad-spectrum pest control that targets multiple rose pests simultaneously. What makes lacewings particularly valuable is their timing. Lacewing eggs hatch quickly after being laid, and the larvae begin feeding immediately. When a pest population begins to build on your roses, lacewing larvae are already present and hunting before the infestation reaches damaging levels. The predator population responds to the prey population in real time, scaling up as pest numbers increase. Adult lacewings are attracted to gardens that provide nectar, pollen, and shelter. They're particularly drawn to plants in the carrot family, dill, fennel, angelica, and coriander, as well as composite flowers like yarrow and chamomile. They also need sheltered spots to overwinter, so leaving some areas of the garden undisturbed through winter supports year-round lacewing populations. Here's what to do. Plant dill, fennel, or yarrow near your roses to attract adult lacewings. Avoid broad-spectrum pesticides that kill lacewing eggs and larvae, along with pest species. Provide overwintering habitat by leaving hollow stems and leaf litter in sheltered garden areas through winter. You maintain a year-round lacewing population that provides continuous, aggressive pest control for your roses. You're accidentally killing your own pest control. Every time you spray, even organic sprays, you reset the predator population. The pests recover first, the predators take longer to return, and the cycle starts again. If you're realizing your garden isn't lacking solutions, It's lacking balance. Hit like and stick with me, because this next part is what actually brings them in. Number 1, the ladybug, the aphid annihilator. If you've ever had an aphid explosion on your roses, this is your first line of defense. Ladybugs are the most recognized beneficial insect in the garden, and their reputation is completely deserved. Both adult ladybugs and their larvae are voracious aphid predators, and together they represent one of the most effective natural pest control systems available to rose gardeners. An adult ladybug can consume up to 50 aphids per day. Over its lifetime, a single ladybug may eat more than 5,000 aphids. But here's what most gardeners don't know. The larvae are even more aggressive than the adults. Ladybug larvae are small, dark, alligator-shaped creatures that look nothing like the familiar spotted adult. They move through aphid colonies continuously, consuming every aphid they encounter without stopping. A single larva can eat 400 or more aphids during its 2 to 3 week development period. A rose bush with an established ladybug population, adults laying eggs, larvae hatching and feeding, has a self-renewing pest control system that operates continuously through the growing season. Ladybugs are attracted to gardens that provide both prey and nectar. They need aphids to reproduce. They won't lay eggs in a garden without a food source, but they also need nectar and pollen to survive as adults. A garden with a moderate aphid presence and abundant flowering plants is the ideal ladybug habitat. The goal isn't zero aphids. It's a balanced ecosystem where ladybug populations keep aphid populations below damaging levels. This is the mindset shift that changes everything. You stop trying to eliminate every aphid and start managing the balance between predator and prey. When you see a few aphids on your roses, you don't spray, you look for ladybugs. If ladybugs are present, the system is working. If they're not, you focus on attracting them rather than reaching for a spray bottle. Plants that attract ladybugs include dill, fennel, yarrow, marigolds, and sweet alyssum. These plants provide the nectar that adult ladybugs need to survive and reproduce. Planting these companions near your roses creates the habitat that keeps ladybug populations established and active. How to attract them fast. Now that you know which 5 insects protect your roses, here's how to actually bring them in and keep them. Plant nectar sources. Flat-topped flowers like yarrow, dill, and sweet alyssum provide accessible nectar for parasitic wasps, hoverflies, and lacewings. Marigolds attract hoverflies and ladybugs. Provide a water source. A shallow dish with pebbles and clean water gives beneficial insects the moisture they need without drowning them. Change the water every few days to prevent mosquito breeding. Create habitat. Mulch provides ground beetle shelter, hollow stems and leaf litter. Support lacewing overwintering. A slightly wilder garden edge provides the diversity of habitat that beneficial insects need. Stop spraying. This is the most important step. Every spray application, even organic options, disrupts the beneficial insect population you're trying to build. Commit to a no-spray period and give the system time to establish. You don't need more products, you need a better environment. When this system is working, you don't chase pests anymore. They disappear before they become a problem. You walk through your rose garden in the morning, and instead of scanning for damage, you watch ground beetles retreating under the mulch as the sun rises. You see aphid mummies on the stems, evidence that parasitic wasps have already been there. You notice hoverflies hovering over the blooms, lacewings resting on the leaves, ladybugs moving through the foliage. The garden is alive, and it's defending itself. When you stop spraying and start building, you don't just solve the pest problem, you create a garden that's fundamentally more resilient, more beautiful, and more alive than anything a spray bottle could ever produce. Have you ever actually seen any of these 5 insects in your garden? Or are you still stuck in the spray cycle, fighting pests alone? Let me know in the comments. Which of these 5 predators are you going to focus on attracting first? If you found this helpful and want to finally break the spray cycle and build a rose garden that defends itself, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with fellow rose gardeners who are tired of fighting the same pest battles every season. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We've got more natural pest control guides, companion planting strategies, and rose garden ecosystem secrets coming your way soon. Thank you so much for watching and being part of our growing community. Until next time, happy gardening.